Good afternoon. I'm Brian Garner, Public Information Officer for Florida Power and Light, here at our FPL Command Center, where we are managing the restoration following Hurricane Milton. In just a few moments, our President and CEO, Armando Pimentel, will provide a restoration update, and then he'll take your questions. If you're a member of the media, you can submit those questions at media.relations@fpl.com, also on Facebook for all of our customers participating today. With that, I'll hand it over to Armando.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. I spent the morning in Southwest Florida today. As now all of you know, Hurricane Milton came into Southwest Florida as a Category 3 hurricane, and then roared across the state and exited also in our service territory on the east coast of Florida as a Category 1 hurricane. The damage was historic in many cases and certainly devastating for many of the residents and many of our customers along its path. Milton left 2 million of our customers without power at its peak. Less than 24 hours after Milton exited our state, we have been able to restore 1.3 million of our customers. But that leaves about 650,000 of our customers without power at this point, something that we are keenly focused on, and I will have more to say about expected restoration in just a few minutes. Our crews are now converging on the hardest hit areas, and you might imagine where those hardest hit areas are. Areas affected both in Southwest Florida, in the middle of the state, and then in the east coast of Florida. Some of our own FPL employees were affected by the hurricane, and they are out there helping our crews and helping us restore power to all of our customers, and I want to thank them for doing that at this time. We have finished our initial damage assessment of Hurricane Milton. We were doing damage assessments as the hurricane was in our area, as it was cruising through our area, and then as it exited. We are done now. We have seen the devastation. And I just want to put a couple of things in context. On the west coast of Florida, there was significant storm surge, some significant flooding on top of the very big winds that area saw. There was also some very powerful tornadoes that affected the area and took out not only homes and businesses, but also much of our electric infrastructure in that part of the state. On the east coast, so far, there have been 38 confirmed tornado sightings. Many of you on the east coast of Florida have seen pictures either through our social media accounts or on other media across TV. And you've certainly seen the devastation. From tornadoes alone, there were about 85,000 of our customers that lost their power. That tornado damage was widespread. You may not see the tornado damage in your particular area as you walk around your neighborhood, especially if you don't have power. But I can assure you that that tornado damage, which I witnessed personally just yesterday when I visited one of those sites, is pretty devastating. And so while it may not be in your neighborhood, it may be a couple of neighborhoods down the road, and it may certainly be affecting whether you have power today or not. We are leveraging drones and other technology in our assessments to make sure that we go to the hardest hit areas and that we are putting the right people in the right place at the right time. We will continue to do that drone flying to make sure that we get the best eyes on the situation before our workforce shows up. Remember, we have 20,000 folks in our workforce at this point, men and women from 41 states, plus some from Canada that are helping us with our restoration. You see them on the road. You see them at our staging sites. We are working 24 hours a day, and we'll be working 7 days a week to make sure that we can fix all of the damage that we have seen. It's important to note that the investments that we have made in our infrastructure have paid off. We have seen evidence that undergrounding the lines is a great investment for our customers. The underground lines have performed about 12 to 13 times better than the lines that are above the ground, which is a really positive news. Because of that, we've seen that investment pay off at other storms. Because of that, we will absolutely continue to make that investment. Hardening the poles, hardening our infrastructure, all positive things that we can do for our customers, and that we will continue to do. For the 650,000 customers FPL customers that don't have power today, I want to give you some sense as to what the next couple of days are going to bring. First, FPL is targeting that 90% of our customers will have power by the end of the day on Monday. In terms of specific counties, let me give you a rundown. We are essentially restored in the following counties: Baker, Bradford, Broward, Clay, Columbia, Hendry, Miami-Dade, Nassau, Palm Beach, and Suwannee. We expect to be essentially restored by Tuesday in the following counties. Remember, essentially restored is a lot higher than 90%, where we expect to be at the end of the day on Monday. So for the end of the day Tuesday, we would expect essentially restored in Glades, Martin, Putnam, and St. John's. On Wednesday evening, we expect to be essentially restored in Collier, Lee, Okeechobee, and St. Lucie. And we expect to be essentially restored on Thursday evening in Brevard, Charlotte, DeSoto, Flagler, Indian River, Manatee, Sarasota, Seminole, and Volusia. Those last counties are the counties that were hardest hit by the storms. A lot of tornadic activity in those counties. We are working very hard to bring these dates in, and I would expect and hope that we will be able to bring some of these dates in. It is also important to understand that some of our customers may not be in a position to receive power. Unfortunately, damage to their homes, damage to the lines outside, significant damage where the home is not safe to receive power. We will nevertheless endeavor to make sure that we can work with those customers so that they can receive power as soon as possible. I want to thank our customers for our patience. I want to make personally sure that everyone's life gets back to normal as soon as possible, and we will work very hard, at least on the power side, to be able to do that. Know that our workforce, the more than 20,000 of our workforce, is working around the clock. You may not be seeing them in your neighborhood, but they are right down the street. And we will continue to work around the clock until everyone's lights is on. So with that, I will take questions.
Can you explain how you restore power and who you prioritize?
So the key is to restore power to the largest number of customers at the fastest pace that we can. Obviously, we also are very focused on critical infrastructures, right? You can imagine that it's important to make sure that we have police departments, we have fire departments, we have 911 centers, and we have other critical facilities at the top of the list to make sure we get those restored. And that is our plan. That's always been our plan, and that is what we are exercising today.
What do you say to customers who have not seen bucket trucks in their neighborhood?
So that's a question I tried to address in the prepared remarks. Trust me, if your lights are out, we know that your lights are out. That doesn't mean you can't call FPL and say, hey, my lights are out. Please go ahead and call us if you so wish, but we know your lights are out. Because you may not see those trucks in front of your house, you may not see them as you're walking around the neighborhood, but the trucks are around. We've got 20,000 men and women in our workforce out there making sure that we can turn people's lights back on. You may not see the damage 3 roads down. You may not see the damage a mile down the road to one of our big transmission lines that is causing this particular outage in your neighborhood. The only time that you should call us and say, hey, what's up? If you see all of your neighbors' lights are on and you don't have your lights on, please call us. Tell us so we can make sure that we can get your power back on also.
I know I know you addressed this a little bit in your remarks, but could you just explain how you think the FPL system performed overall?
So I addressed in the remarks that the investments that we have made in the grid have paid off. And that's easy to see, right? Well, I gave the specific reference to underground lines performing 12 to 13 times better than overhead lines. But we can see it in other areas. Transmission, for example. We did not lose one transmission pole during this storm, which is amazing, right? That's our expectation of the system, was not to lose a transmission pole, and it was a very powerful storm, and it didn't. But we've also hardened a lot of our distribution system, our smaller lines, if you will, and you can see that, right? There's more poles and more areas, and we're very comfortable with the way it performed. So overall, I would say that I'm comfortable with the way our system would perform. Our investments have certainly paid off. That doesn't mean that a big storm from Mother Nature cannot cause havoc on a system. No system is built to withstand a strong hurricane. The investments that we make in the system are meant to assure that we can restore the system as quickly as possible afterwards. And I'm comfortable it has done that.
Can you explain what customers should do if they can't safely accept power?
So it's important, if you know that you've had damage to your house, whether it's flooding, whether it's a tree fell unfortunately at your home, whatever the damage is, it's important for you to understand that you will need to contact a licensed electrician to look at your home to make sure that it is safe to accept power. And if you have any doubts on that, you should go ahead and call the licensed electrician now, so that when the FPL trucks are rolling down the neighborhood and putting power on, it clicks on at your house. That's all the questions. Thank you. Brian?
Thank you, Armando. Before we close, I'd like to say a few things about safety. At FPL, safety is our top priority, and we urge it to make it your top priority as well. If you are in an area that's been heavily damaged by the hurricane, please stay off the roads as much as possible unless it's absolutely necessary. That leaves room for first responders, including FPL and other utility workers, to do their jobs. Avoid standing water. You've got to assume that could hide dangerous conditions, including downed power lines. By all means, stay away from power lines. You've got to assume they could be energized. If you do encounter a downed power line, please call us at 1-800-4-OUTAGE, and we can address it. Finally, if you're using a portable generator, please use it according to the manufacturer's instructions. Keep it far away from your home and windows, and plug appliances directly into the generator. We encourage you also to stay connected with us throughout this storm and restoration on FPL.com, by downloading the FPL mobile app, and here on your social media platforms and with our media partners. We're going to be here for you every single day until every customer is restored. Thanks for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.